Welcome back to the lab. We've got this Ford 9-inch diff housing to go into the back of the Gloria. So this was made by a Chrysler shop over in Tauranga. So they got all these water cut and everything, welded those on, organised all the rest of it. All the guts of it are all sitting over there waiting. We've got to suss out these top mounts. There's a little bit of, let's just make sure that's going to work before we go too far with that stuff. So I'm going to lift the jacky thingy up, put the diffy thingy in the hole, figure out where our mounts are, make sure it's not going to crash into anything when it's just cruising around on the streets at normal ride heights, etc. So it should be fun. Don't think I'll do action cam. Might do action cam. Should we do action cam? Let's do action cam. Alright, look mum, no hands. So that's good. We can get this under the car now. Well, it's under the car already. We can get it in the right spot. And magic transmission jack. Away we go. This is interesting, isn't it? Nice. So he's made the shock mounts adjustable, which is good. That can go up or down a couple of notches. I'm assuming if you want a coarse adjustment, you can flip it up the other way and really shift things. I don't think it's been designed with that in mind, but it certainly could happen. Not sure if that's supposed to be in between there. Oh yeah, that's been welded in there, so a little packet to stop it moving around as much as what it might do. It's alright. These things are these are not my design. This is Tim from the Chrysler shop took care of all that. I just took the old diff over there and said, right, there you go, there's that. We need that. Need this new diff to fit in the hole where that diff fitted, and he's taken care of all that. So that's it's all looking downhill for you guys, I suppose. I have to remember where my head's pointing so you can see what I'm seeing. I reckon that's probably not bad. Good size. Right, someone will be asking, how do you get the springs out of the shocks? And this system here, you just wind these collars all the way down or up, depending which way you're holding your shock absorber. That drops down like that. That's got a slot in it. Once it's come off that seat, the telephone starts ringing. It interrupts the video. That's all good. Let me get this and we'll carry on. Yeah, so chap wanted a drum kit fixed, so that'll be something different. We're doing musical instruments at the lab now. That's cheers to Synco Customs. Actually, some of the jobs they don't have time for to squeeze into their busy schedule. They are pointing in my direction, which we really appreciate. It's really good. There you go. Anyway, you take that off, like I said, and clean all this while it's all apart, make the car look nice. Ta-da! No spring anymore, so that's awesome. I'll pop that back on for what we're doing, just so we can make sure there's not going to be any clearance issues. And bump stop will hold that. It's beautiful. Got a strong shock absorber. Appear to be in good condition. That's awesome. One. You don't need to see me doing the other one. I'll go and take the other one apart, just same as this, and we'll keep going. There we go. So I've chucked that bolt in there just loosely. Kind of stops this whole assembly crashing to the ground now anyway if it falls off, if the safety chains don't work or the jack topples over or something like that. So one shock in place and its mounts. Now these top mounts are kind of sketchy. They've put a crush tube through the chassis and just put a really long bolt through, and I mean that's okay, sort of. Just checking you can see that properly. You should be able to. Not really long enough bolt, given that the nylock is not really used on that lock nut, so that's not good. We need to do something with that. And the other thing is that bolt kind of hangs out into the wheel tub area a little bit more than what's ideal, and it's going to prevent us using a nice sized tyre. Although looking at this side, we've got some different things going on. We've got a lip over here that I don't think we have on the other side. Yeah, not as much. I think it's rusted and disappeared, eh? This feels squishy. It's like silicon. It is silicon. I bet if we look hard enough. Oh, look. There'll be a hole behind that. So I've got a repair to do there as well before we put that in for a cert. So while we're at it, we'll chop all that off and we'll make that all flush, and we'll get slightly wider tyres in there. We're not going to do anything with this. It looks to have been fettled a little bit already, perhaps, maybe not. But certainly, I don't think the owner is keen on pumping out guards and stuff like that. It's like, nah, that's too far, too much. So, anyway, I'll get this one out. We'll do the same thing as that, and we'll carry on. Both shocks in, no springs, so we can full travel up and down, blah blah. Lower control arms, or lower links, or whatever you want to call them. At the moment I've just put it in the bottom bolt hole there, and we'll just see how things line up. Oh, it's interruptions galore today, I think. Now we've got a customer turning up. I should perhaps go and deal with him. So what's happening? So that's ready to come back out, and I'll bowl back over the Tauranga, get it back to Tim. He can get these, you probably can't see in here very well, he can get these top mounts done up here, and the arms that come through to here. I think, like I said, this bracket that you'll barely be able to see. Oh wait, there's a big light over here, hang on. Let's show you these brackets so you can have a chuckle, you'll know what I'm talking about. Boom, let there be light. They're pretty dangerous looking brackets. Let's look at the other one. Sorry, I'll get this right eventually. There you go. And why would you not take that bracket up to the floor and spread the load across the whole chassis rail? Why stop? Well, it's a little bit more than half the width of the chassis rail. It's kind of sketchy, eh? So I don't know who did that. It's probably, I think it was done in Japan. Japan. Oh, it's got a web across the top. That's not such a bad thing. But yeah, just don't like it, eh? Neither did the certifier. So that has to go. And we've got to build something better. So that's what that's all about. Sometimes it's not over to me, it's over to the certifier. Although things like that we agree anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Nothing happening with the March today. I'm going for a drive to Tauranga. It's holding my drink. That's all that's happening for now. So it's going to be Ford 9-inch LSD in the centre. I think it's True Track he's putting in there. It's about 3.5 ratio, something like that. Once this is all done, then I can get on with making the rest of the exhaust. So the mufflers come through to about here somewhere. I'm going to check they fit actually. I'm sure they will. And then I've got to do a pipe that's either underneath here. Actually, there's heaps of room, isn't there? And that's not going to drop down very far. Let's just come through here with the exhaust and out the side. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. So it comes through the hole, through the muffler, through this hole here, around the corner, out the back, just here. And we'll do some sort of a nice, bit like what we did on the Ute, only better job. We'll do a, let's have a look at the Ute, I'll show you, a custom tip. Something not like that, but a similar sort of thing. I'll build something so it looks good. So we've installed the high horsepower sheet. It increases horsepower by several horsepower, many more. Actually, what we're doing is I've taken that off, cover that up with a sheet so we don't get crap in the engine. But we're sorting out this water inlet manifold thingy, thermostat housing, do flicky me, what's it? So there's a couple of issues going on here. The original owner of the engine, etc., has welded this AM fitting onto here. because that's the way he wanted to do things. It's not the way I want to do things. That size of that fitting, it's not particularly big for an engine that's going to have potentially 500-600 horsepower and be driven on the road. So I know the thermostat's a restriction anyway, but really I think that's a bit of a choke point. Don't like that, so I'm going to cut that off and I'm going to replace it with a piece of tube to run a, I think it's 32mm fitting standard hose. Also, I'm going to take all these off and I'm going to put a thread in here and use that as a bleed point for the system. It's pretty close to the top, it's not all the way there, but you know, so you can get rid of this air that's building up inside the thermostat housing just by cracking a bolt loose on that, and then any air that's here will probably bleed up through the radiator system anyway, through the cap, so that's right. And we'll pull these oil cooler fittings, take those out as well, delete those. I'll put a thread in them, put some blanks in there, and we'll put a plug in this one. Bada bing, bada bang, easy peasy. So someone in the most recent video was saying that he was having trouble hearing me. I need to get a better microphone or something like that, so I apologise for that. I'm pretty sure you're going to hear this though, so you might want to turn your volume down. Might even be able to use that again one day potentially. I could have cut in a little bit deeper. I wanted to save as much as the casting as possible. Haven't lost too much of it, eh? So now I need to fire up the old Dremel. That'll be fun. Bit of lube for the tool. Otherwise this will get all blocked up with aluminium in 2 seconds. This is noisy. Yeah, that's clogging up already. But the CRT is there. Just about perfect. Oh, that's lovely. Right, somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. It's a bit of I think it came from the March actually. Okay, now that's finished making its noise. Second-hand piece of tube, nothing wrong with it. It was in the March for something, I can't remember what it was, but obviously had antifreeze in it based on that. Chop that off, stick that on there, done. A little bit more cleaning up to do here, but that'll be as good as gold. Just like that. Not even hot. Magnificent. Alrighty. Bit of an air leak there. That's better. So that's going to go on there. Just like that. Just like that, a thing of beauty was created. It's not too bad. It's not the world's most perfect welding, but that will suffice. And look, no massive restriction. We're actually marginally bigger than the inside of the casting. So that's going to be great. That's going to be awesome. Drilled and tapped that, 1/8. What is it? National pipe thread fine, some bloody imperial rubbish, but anyway, that's sorted with a grub screw in there, so you can wind that out a little bit, bleed your air out of the system there. Just going to tap these ones out, turn up an aluminium bung, and carefully tap that into place, a little bit of tension on it, maybe heat this up a little bit first so we don't crack the housing, and that'll be that, ready to tidy up a bit more. Might as well remove this casting flash rubbish here, make it look a little bit prettier for him. Should be ready to go back on the motor. So, moved my two bungs up for these larger holes. There's them there. Spun them up on the lathe nicely to a good size. Then, dirty little trick I use sometimes if I need to. Just put them on a flat, hard surface, give them a whack with a hammer, and it'll make the end expand just a little bit. Mushroom it out just a touch. Shouldn't need any sealant on it. It should be. It's gone! I'll have to make another one. There it is. As I was saying, it should be a snug enough fit that the shaky shakes going on this morning, that it won't need any sealant. We'll just put just a tiny little bit on there. Rather have it on there and have it not leak than not use it, have a leak. Becomes actually quite difficult to sort that out once it's in the car and it's got a supercharger on top of it and all that sort of carry on. So it's going to need a hammer to get that in there, which is great. It's exactly what I want. You don't want these falling out and leaking coolant and killing the motor. Beautiful. Look at that. Again, that'll be a nice snug fit. It's held in the vise quite nicely, it won't go anywhere. Just use a couple of those there. That's the sound we want, isn't it? Nice and tight. Almost looks like the factory did this. That's it. A little bit more, make it flush, it'll be great. That's when you hear tink, the housing cracks and tears all around. That's great. Very happy with that. Right, give that a little bit of a wipe. Lunchtime. So there we are, all bolted back into the car. New hose tail on there. That's what was originally on there. And you can see the size difference and the amount of flow that you'll be able to get. The difference between those two is quite large. Would have overheated with us, I'm pretty sure. So it's taken care of. Supercharger is now on for the last time, hopefully. So it's brand new hardware's been put in there, new gaskets and all that sort of carry on. So unless something goes wrong, that doesn't have to come off again. Maybe if you want to get things polished up or something like that, it might come off then. Got to make a little bracket to mount our map sensor. I'll probably tuck the plug and the hose tail down beside the fuel rail here. Obviously won't run the wires over the top, run them underneath to make it look nicer. Polish up the mounts for the fuel rails and all sorts of things. We've got to get the headers, which you might be able to see down there. They've got to get ceramic coated, and mount the fuel pressure regulator back here somewhere, run the return lines from there. It goes on and on and on. So really there's quite a lot to do, but that's okay because you guys are enjoying the coverage, hopefully. Alright, I'm going to crack on. Like, share, subscribe.